financial finessers. Is debt PTSD really a thing? So I originally heard about debt PTSD from another YouTuber, so I thought I would do some research to see if debt PTSD is really even a condition. And to my surprise, it actually is. And so I really didn't know if she was over dramatizing her experience with her debt, but the context was she had paid off all of her debt recently and she started having nightmares about having debt all over again, and she called this debt PTSD. Y'all, like, I was tripping. I was like, is this even a thing that someone can have? So this article by Payoff actually did a study to show the correlation between mental health and financial stress. So as it relates to this term of debt PTSD, this study found that 23% of Americans who took this study did admit to having, and I quote, a debilitating degree of stress surrounding their debt. And out of those 23% of Americans who surveyed this, 36% y'all were millennials. Like, I'm a millennial, you're a millennial, like, you probably tripping off that fact too. I take mental health very seriously, so the term debt PTSD being thrown around in some article, like, I had to see these numbers, y'all. Like, I had to see, and I Googled other resources from Forbes magazine, links provided below, and it did indeed state that Americans do refer to themselves as having debt PTSD, and most of those Americans who refer to themselves as having that are millennials. So, like, next, this study found that the stress experienced by these individuals who took this survey had similar psychological factors associated to people who had PTSD. Like, people who experienced this financial stress were in denial about their finances, had avoidance behavior toward their debts, and also had an inability, the article says, y'all, to plan their financial life. I don't know what a circumstance looks like when someone has an inability to plan their financial life. But this article sort of made it seem like the individuals who took this survey were working Americans. They just did not have the ability to plan for their financial life. And then 5, their PTSD related symptoms were 1, agitation, 2, hypervigilance, and 3, self-destructive behaviors, which people that could be racking up more debt on a credit card. For other people, that could be something as simple as like drinking more alcohol than usual, going out, partying. Anything you do to avoid the fact that you have that debt is like a self-destructive behavior. I definitely have experienced some hypervigilance toward my debt. My hypervigilance looked like constantly checking my bank statement, constantly checking my bank account to see if my overdraft charges have kicked in, constantly checking my savings account to see if money was pulled from that because I wasn't budgeting, constantly checking my bank account like probably 100 times per week, which does get better if you do have a financial plan, but for those of us who don't, it could kind of lead to these types of behaviors. A lot of these feelings, this article by Payoff summed up as being called acute financial distress. So they have this distress, it's specifically due to their money, and it happens really quickly and it affects their lives in a very huge way. So I just want to say, like, I think these are really real feelings that people do experience. I do think that it is something that does affect people. I don't think this YouTuber was over dramatizing, y'all. There are several articles out there. I dropped some of the links below in the comment section so like you can have that perspective for yourself, but I sure am curious in knowing like how that relates to you. So there was another article put out by a company called cesisolutions in 2018, and basically this article stated that a lot of millennials, once again millennials, do face this thing called debt PTSD, but it goes on to give some simple tips that a person can go refer to so that they can alleviate some of these debt PTSD related symptoms. So number one is simple: start a budget. I don't care how much money you make, no longer have. I don't care how much money is in your bank account. Make a budget, y'all. Like, this is this is gonna really be beneficial to people who experience some of that stress that I was just talking about. Start a budget. Trying to win y'all over who are in that pre-contemplation stage. Next, you're going to track your spending using an app. So I do track my spending. I use EveryDollar and I also use Mint. I like Mint because Mint lets me know when I have a bill due. The EveryDollar app it does everything Mint does just about, but it doesn't warn me when I have a bill to pay because stuff happens and sometimes life gets a little bit too much and I do forget to pay bills. Number 3 is to cut back on unnecessary spendings. Do click that link to the video above to know how I did that. And number 4 is to create an emergency fund. So I've shared with you all briefly that I have stopped aggressively paying off debt, and I am aggressively saving 3 to 6 month expenses just due to the COVID virus and like having my job being threatened. I mean, once the company starts talking about potential layoffs, furloughs, I'm just kind of like, okay, I need to save. How much do y'all have? Like, that really matters. When my job announced potential furloughs and layoffs, I wasn't as nervous as I would have been if I didn't have a savings account. So next is to save for retirement. Go ahead and click the link to my emergency baby steps to kind of understand where I stand on that position. Number 6 is to set financial goals. So one of my biggest goals is to have $8,000 saved by August. Sustainable goal, considering there's nothing open for me to spend my money, but it's going to get real interesting once things start to open up here in LA. I just think it's interesting that all of these things are things that I too am already doing and also encouraging you all to do. But I sure am curious to know like what you all think about debt PTSD. Go ahead and do all those things. Drop a comment so that Financial Finesser can know what you think about debt related PTSD. Is it real to you? Do you have it? Have you experienced it before? And what are your thoughts about millennials having more debt PTSD symptoms than their parents? Go ahead and drop a comment below, subscribe as well. Until then, finesse those finances, not your debt.